So I just found out that I gotta spend a few $1,000s so I can have this camper here. So I'm not really sure what to do. Her son just came today, so I'm not even, I guess we're just gonna have to spend the money just so he can stay here. I'm just blown away by this. So as you know, Carolyn and I just bought this camper. It's an old used camper. The inside looks a lot nicer than the outside. It's got a lot of issues. It's not roadworthy, but in the end, it's a perfect spot for her son. Now, you may remember I was trying to clean this area up over here, and we wanted to park it up there so it wasn't so close to the chickens. And definitely like to get it up there before the summertime, because the smell in the camper was just going to be terrible. We're not sure how long he's going to have to stay here, and he's welcome to stay here as long as possible if we can afford it. We bought this from a guy not too far from here. As a matter of fact, the town closest to us has a Facebook group page, and I posted in the page looking for a camper. Somebody said, hey, I got a RVs, and they wanted like $10,500 for it. I mean, that was just, we just didn't need anything that fancy. That would have been more expensive than our tiny house. Our tiny house was $5,000. So this guy, of course, somebody tagged the guy, and this guy said, hey, I got one. And it was $200 more expensive than what we were looking for. But we couldn't find anything, absolutely nothing in the sizes that we were looking for a reasonable price. Now, I say reasonable, I had a price in mind, but it was quite obvious my reasonable price was a lot cheaper than going rate. I mean, even pop-up campers were going for, I don't know, $2,500 to $3,000 for old ones. So when he told me the price of this, I mean, it hurt a little for the extra $200. So we went and looked at it, and instantly I knew this was just too big for us. My little 4-cylinder truck, 3,000 pounds, I think is what it can pull, 3,500. And this was at 5,000. Of course, it doesn't have pullouts or anything, which was a huge plus. So when I got there, first thing I said is, it's just too big for us. My little truck can't pull it. He said, yeah, I know, no big deal. I said, could you make arrangements to pull it for us? I said, that's the only way I could buy it from you. So here's my thinking. Part of the money we spent on the camper was also for towing services. So the day before he brought it down, he came down to look where we wanted it. So he got it close, but he was going to straighten it up a little bit and back down, and his 4x4 got stuck. So he said, well, as soon as it dries out, give me a call or message on Facebook, and he'll come back down with another truck. Of course, it's not licensed, but it's his farm truck, and he says it's got better tires on it, and apparently all 4 wheels spin, whereas on regular 4-wheel drive like the one he had, you get one front wheel and one back wheel that spins. But apparently he's got it locked in, so all 4 wheels will spin. He's going to be gone for a couple weeks. He's on his honeymoon. So when we got it here, I made a video, told everybody what happened, and I told you that I was going to have to level it out. So the first thing I had to do was I had to drop the front end dang near towards the ground, and I think it may actually be touching the ground on that other side just a bit. So, I mean, it's all the way down. And then I had to raise this side of the camper so it was level. It's not quite level right now, but it's close enough that I'm not worried about it. Like I said, he's here now, Carolyn's son. So all I had was some scissors jacks and a little jack, bottle thing. It comes, nothing hydraulic to jack this up with. And I said that in the video. After the video, I started working on it. I can do math. That's my advantages, I think, in life. I knew the bottle jack could lift 1.5 tons. More specifically, it said 3,300 pounds. So 1.5 tons is 3,000 pounds. I can do math. I know how to do that. So 3,300 pounds is another 300 pounds. Camper is 5,000 pounds. So I'm not lifting the whole camper. I'm lifting half of the camper, this side. So if I do the math, that's 2,500 pounds. These little scissor jacks should be able to lift it. Oh no, let me tell you how to spend your money. A little house off grid. So I get an email first thing telling me, oh, you're not gonna be able to do that. And he explains to me that campers weigh 6,300 pounds. Fine, I understand that there could have been a little bit of variance between what this one is and what he thought it was. But even at that, at 6,300 pounds, that still would have put my bottle jack, that little truck jack or scissor jack, where it could lift it, because that would have been like 3,100 pounds when you split it in half, because I'm only lifting half the camper. He says, you need to go to Harbor Freight and buy a 12-ton hydraulic bottle jack. It's the only way you're going to get that up. I know, I'm an expert. This is what he said. I'm an expert. I live in an RV. Well, I had already done it by the time he sent this email. It was already up and leveled with a scissor jack. Now, he wrote this whole long email. Now, I know people think I'm just rude and I'm a jerk, but I have a theory about this kind of attitude. I was raised that you don't tell people how to spend money, period. It is a sin. Don't do it unless you're asked. I've never asked anybody how to spend my money on YouTube because I know I'm going to get all kinds of advice on how to spend all my money. So I don't do it. It is a rule I have when I make videos that I don't ask, should I spend my money? But I get all kinds of information how to spend tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars for YouTube. I don't understand this. I'm trying to show you how to live minimalistically on a budget where you buy a piece of property really cheap. But no, you got to spend tons of money. So Harbor Freight, I don't know how much it would have cost, but it would have been a lot more expensive than free, because those scissor jacks I told you I found in a national forest, one in Nebraska, and I think the other one was in Florida. Those are free. Now, here's the thing. If it had not worked, then I could have went and bought something else. But a 12-ton jack, that is 24,000 pounds of jack versus 2,500 pounds. We're talking 10 times the amount of jack that I needed. But hey, let's go spend hundreds of dollars on a jack. So even if I were to call my dad and I said, hey Dad, what kind of camper should I get? And I give him a couple options. He says, I don't know, it's your money, whatever you want. No, I ask you. So my dad is just horribly picky about this rule. And I feel like it is rude if you tell someone how to spend their money. It's not advice. Advice is, hey, have you ever considered the idea that that jack may not jack it up? You know, there are other types of jacks, so you want to look into that. That's advice. That's like, hey, I don't know if you're aware of this. Okay, I can accept that. But telling someone it's not going to work, you're going to have to spend millions of dollars on something that you're trying not to spend any money on. I feel like we've spent a lot of money this month, and I would like to cut down on it. I can't convince people of that. So I replied, hey, you know what? RV expert. This is where people are going to think I'm rude. I already lifted it with the jack. So no, you're wrong. I didn't read the rest of your email because you're not an RV expert. You're a how to spend money expert. Yes, I know I'm rude. And that's why I don't hang around people. Me and people don't get along. I think a lot of people don't understand how to do math, and I'm not trying to be critical. And as a result, they go way overboard and spend a lot more money and then wonder why they're broke. Well, just do the math. Get the calculator out and force yourself to say 24,000 pound jack lifting a 2,500 pound camper. You know, what is a ton? How much weight is 12 tons? 24,000 pounds. So I got it off the ground. Now, admittedly, I was struggling to find wood pieces. I will admit this. So I put the jack right on top of the concrete block and it busted it almost instantly. So I learned not to do that. Would jack it up just high enough to get a board in there and then lower it back down, readjust the jack, raise it up again, get another board in there. So he's only raising it, what is that, 1 3/4? I think is what a board is. So 1 3/4 at a time is what we were raising it. It didn't take too long, maybe an hour, and we had it. And then once we had it up there, we established another stack of bricks. So, because we didn't want the whole thing being stacked with boards. I mean, we had the whole thing stacked up with boards. We figured that would be pretty unstable. So we stacked up another side. We could take all the boards out and get another concrete block in there and just use 2 boards. Then I put concrete block and a couple boards underneath the tire, just in case these bricks break like this one did. It's not just rolling down, you know, flipping over, and it'd be a catastrophe. I mean, it'd be kind of jarring. It would, but it wouldn't just immediately roll over with him in it. Now, as you can see, I got the wiring hooked up to the solar panels. I had this wire, so the only thing I had to buy was the plug-ins. And I think I spent maybe 20 bucks for all the components that I bought at the hardware store, and some of that was to fix the roof on my well. When the guy brought it down, he busted up the well. But that's not good enough, because immediately I was told right after that email, somebody said, well, you almost got it all set up. That's great. Now all you need is a new water tank, an IBC tank, and a new generator. What? I need $500 to $600 to buy a new generator for Carolyn's son? Are you insane? Why would I do that? I've got 2 generators here. One's used part-time for the well, and the other one's old and crickety, and we have solar panels. Even if we don't have enough solar panels, and I got to charge my batteries more frequently with the generator, it would still cost less than gasoline or propane or whatever we decide to run than it would be to go out and buy a new generator. Why would I do that? We're trying to save money, and he's trying to save money so he can get back on his feet. And so then we need an IBC tank. Well, I already discussed that in a previous video, but apparently we didn't hear that. If we did it, it would be a barrel. There's no reason for another IBC tank. He's not going to be here for the rest of his life. And then, of course, a new water pump, an RV pump. We can run a hose from the well, turn the generator on, and run it into the house. He can have all the water he wants, and then when he's done, he can shut the generator off. Then the water stops running. It's a little bit of extra work, but hey, we live off grid. That's kind of the idea. Not everything's push button and, well, you know, turn on the faucet. Yesterday's video, I said, if things don't work out, I'm going to get somebody around here with a tractor and give them 20 bucks or whatever to come down here and see if we can pull it out. There's tractors driving by this place all the time. I could literally wave one down and say, hey, you got a minute or 10? Because I would have to take this off the block, so that would take a few minutes. And he could come in with his 3-point hitch, lift it up and pull it up to here. But my thinking is I've already paid the guy who delivered the camper to put it here. That was the agreement. We had an agreement that he was going to bring it here. If he didn't bring it here, I wasn't going to buy it. He agreed. I paid for a service. I expect the service. But no, I am supposed to go hire a company that moves tiny sheds. That's their job, I guess. I don't know. I've never bought a tiny shed. You know, a shed at Home Depot, I guess is what they were talking about. I'm supposed to hire this company to come out here with their skid steers, and they'll lift it up and they'll drag it up here. It'll only be a few $100s. No big deal. Why would I want to do that? We live in a society here in this area where I would suspect that if he can't get this thing moved, he will find one of his friends to come out and do it for him. As you know, Carolyn and I have very limited amount of electric. We unplugged the refrigerator to the camper. I think it is just a regular refrigerator. I don't think it's a propane refrigerator. But I said in that video that I am concerned that the propane could leak in this camper if I were to hook propane up to it. So there is one of my concerns. This is copper tubing. It has to be propane. But nope, ignore that. You need to hook that propane up to that refrigerator so that boy's got some refrigeration for his whatevers. When I specifically said we're not going to run the refrigerator, Carolyn's son is well aware of this. We have refrigeration up there, that freezer. We keep a cooler. We don't even have a refrigerator. We keep a cooler. We freeze ice in the freezer and put the ice in the cooler, and that way we can have a cooler. If he wants something in the cooler, he can put it in the cooler himself. Why do we need another refrigerator? But no, I'm going to tell you how to spend your money. You need, it'd only be one tank a month. Well, that's $12 a month. I'm trying to save this guy some money. I'm trying to save me some money. Or we can just do it my way and not spend any money. I think my way is a lot better. I don't like spending money. I don't know if you noticed that. I hate spending money. Oh, you're a cheapskate. That's fine. I don't care what you call me. That's who I am. Now, one guy said, well, there's no way he's going to want to live like this, off grid. You need to get him established with real electric, real, whatever. Or I guess the other option is he could go get a tent and live in California's sidewalk. And I'm not criticizing him at all. I mean, things happen. I understand that. But according to these folks who think I need to spend lots of money, either I spend lots of money or it's nothing at all for him. I don't get that. Why can't he just enjoy what we gave him? And I think he's very appreciative. So if you click this up next box, take you to the video where I was talking about this camper. So I hope I can inspire you to not spend money and learn math so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.